Many of the biggest events to hit Germany this week have hit from the outside. European leaders have spent the week trying to figure out what to do with the Iran deal now that US President Donald Trump has cancelled it. And what they decide can have major implications far beyond Iran. The thing is, Europe wants to keep trading with Iran. Trade with the Islamic Republic has increased ninefold since the Iran deal went into force. But now America is telling European businesses that they'll face American sanctions if those businesses keep doing business with Iran. Now, European leaders are not at all pleased being told who they can and can't trade with by the US. So they all met in Sofia yesterday. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said that all European member states still stand by the Iran nuclear deal. They're going to try and keep it going. So the European Commission is looking at ways to retaliate against the United States if they place sanctions on European companies. The EU is also looking at trading oil with Iran using euros instead of dollars to try and get around US sanctions. You've now got a major part of the Western financial system trying to work against the United States. And this is just part of an economic clash building between Europe and the US. The US is currently scheduled to put sanctions on European steel and aluminium beginning next month. And again, Europe is looking for ways to strike back against the United States if America follows through on that. Now, the dollar is at the foundation of the world's whole international trading system, and that gives the US a lot of power. So exactly how this plays out in the short term remains to be seen. But in the longer term, this is adding to Europe's desire to make the financial system revolve around them and not the United States. And this is something that the Bible talks a lot about. Revelation 17 and 18 prophesy of a powerful European empire, and it talks a lot about it being rich, about it being a trading power. The Old Testament refers to this power as Tyre, again referencing that ancient trading nation famous for its trade and for its merchants. The Iran deal cancellation is important in its own right. You can read more about that on our website, thetrumpet.com. But the rise of this trade war and this new trading system that you see emerging out of that is another important trend. You can read more about that in our article, Trade Wars Have Begun. The other big event to hit Germany from the outside is Italy's elections. These elections actually took place about 2 months ago, but the biggest parties from that elections are now finally close to forming a government. And this government has been described as Germany's nightmare. A version of their coalition agreement leaked earlier in the week, and it called for the European Central Bank to basically get rid of 250 billion euros of Italian debt. They've now said that they've dropped that from the coalition agreement, but there's still a whole number of very controversial measures, and in a lot of ways the damage is done. Germany knows that Italy is about to get a government that may turn around at any time and say, yeah, we're not going to pay your €250 billion back. We're just going to keep that money. Professor Hans Werner Sinn, an economist at Munich University, he sees this in dire terms. He told The Telegraph, there is no possible solution to this. The catastrophe is happening. This is going to lead to the destruction of Europe, to say it bluntly. It will also bring the Alternative for Deutschland to power in Germany. So the rise of this government in Italy is causing major challenges for Europe and for Germany, to put it mildly. It's a government that's threatening to help itself to Germany's money, and it's a huge challenge for the euro. Now, this government isn't here yet, so there's still a lot of unknowns. Some are saying, for example, that this coalition's policy of borrowing heavily could actually make the Italian economy a lot better in the short run, while storing up massive problems for when an economic downturn actually does hit. So a lot of unknowns, but sooner or later, Italy and Germany seem like they're heading for a clash. Now, the Bible forecasts some massive changes for Europe. It tells us that Europe is going to be a tightly knit 10-nation superpower, not the kind of loose arrangement of 28 member states that we see right now. the kind of clash of European giants that we see building in the wake of the Italian elections could help bring that change about. So to learn more about what the Europe of the future looks like, you can read our free book, The Holy Roman Empire in Prophecy. And then finally, a piece of news from within Germany itself. Bavaria, the major state within Germany, they have a strict new security law that went into effect this week. The police now have much wider powers to tap phones and to make preventative arrests. Critics within Germany have compared the law to Gestapo-era measures. Bavaria especially is shifting to the right in the wake of the migrant crisis and the rise of the alternative for Deutschland. This is just the latest of several measures in this direction. And this shift to the right is also prophesied. The Bible says that this coming European empire, this European state, will be authoritarian. And again, you can read much more about that in our free book, The Holy Roman Empire in Prophecy. That will take you through in much more detail exactly what the Bible and even what history says about the power that is building right now in Europe.